right here. The name is Paul Revere, and here's the guy that says if the weather's clear, can do.
And a pleasant good Sunday morning on this January 11th. I'm Sam Spear, and each and every Sunday morning from 6 to 7 we talk horse racing. And on today's show, we'll handicap the Dollar Day card out at Golden Gate Fields with the Professor, Gordon Jones. He'll also take a look at races around the country, including Santa Anita. That'll be in the second half hour. We're going to have a special report by our man Don August as he interviews apprentice jockey Carson Sullivan, a newcomer to the jockey colony here in the Bay Area. And he's off to a very good start. Had a riding triple last week. So we'll meet Carson Sullivan.
The best sleep you've ever had, guaranteed.
You're listening to At the Track with Sam Spear on KNBR 680, the sports leader.
This is Don August with HorseRacingNation.com, and today on Barry Backstretch Talk, you'll meet the hot apprentice rider at Golden Gate Fields, Carson Sullivan. Thanks in large part to a 3-win day last Saturday, Sullivan has started the new winter spring meet tied for 4th after 2 weeks of the jockey standings with 7 wins. After you hear his 3 wins from last Saturday, you will get to meet the young man from Southern California.
Below the 8th pole, Handful of Pearls turns away Cadillac Desert. Now has to deal with Sindari and Forever a Fan. Sindari and Forever a Fan are collaring Handful of Pearls, 3 of them stretching for the wire. I think Handful of Pearls did enough to win. To the inside is finishing determinedly. She's after Seductive Charm in a big hurry, and up goes Lil Orfanelli, scooting along the fence, kicking to the front, and she'll win it impressively. Sunkiss following, it's joined on the inside by Sweet One, and a length and a quarter Misty Warrior coming at the pair. It's Stylish Copy fighting on gallantly. Sweet One can't get past it for the moment. It's a narrow lead for Stylish Copy. Now Sweet One puts the head in front. Sweet One will give Sullivan a hat trick.
Carson, congratulations on the good start you've gotten off to at this meet at Golden Gate Fields.
Thank you very much.
Now, when you're new to Golden Gate Fields, but you're not new to racing, why don't you tell everybody just how racing has been in your life?
Well, I grew up around racing. I grew up on the backside of Santa Anita and Southern California. My mom, she worked for a lot of outfits galloping, and then she also ponied in the afternoons. And beyond that, her father was in racing her whole life. She grew up in racing. My great-grandfather was in racing. My dad rode, and even now my stepdad was actually a jockey. So it was a part of my life from the beginning.
You grew up on the backside, and you're surrounded by it as you were growing up. Why did you not want to be a jockey when it came to be the age for jockeys to start riding?
It wasn't so much that I didn't want to be a jockey. It was that I had an opportunity to go to a different school, and it was away from the racetrack. And my family thought it would be best for me to go into this school system. And it was kind of, they wanted to keep it away from me. They wanted a different life for me. They know how hard it is. That was just kind of how it started. And then when I was at the age where I started getting on horses, I wasn't around it. So it didn't come to me. I didn't really get my opportunity to come to it until I decided when I was older that I wanted to, and I had to enter it back in myself.
So between the time you left the track and you got back into riding, what did you spend your time doing?
Well, I went to school. I went to college. I studied psychology, and I really fell in love with music. And so I traveled around. I was in a band and with a group of my friends, and we spent the better part of 4 or 5 years playing music. We played music on the side, and we had other jobs. And I ended up in New York City, and I bartended and worked in the restaurant industry and did the band thing, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. But racing ended up calling me, and so I made a life change.
You found yourself in your mid-20s wanting to be a jockey, not the usual age a lot of guys start out at. What was the first thing you did when you decided you wanted to ride?
Well, the first thing was to talk to my family. I called my mom, and I said, hey, riding has really been calling to me, and I'm the right size. I mean, it was also thought that I wasn't going to be the right size, but I never sprouted up. I stayed the right size. So I called her and said, hey, do you think my grandfather would teach me? Because, he was a good rider, and he breaks yearlings in Florida, and it's a good place to start. And he would bring me up the right way. And, that's kind of how the wheels started turning.
When you first started, it wasn't just getting on a horse right off the bat, was it?
Oh, absolutely not. I wasn't allowed to get on a horse for a little while. I mean, I had to take care of the pony and groom, hot walked, did stalls. I had to start from scratch, the way he was taught, the way it's, a lot of the old timers came up, and that was just, he's old fashioned. That's the way I had to come up. So I had to start that way. And then I had to get on the pony in the round pen, bareback. I wasn't allowed to have a saddle. And as I progressed, I started getting more equipment. And then as I got that, I got to go to the racetrack. Before I even the racetrack, I got to go to the training track. And then eventually I got on yearlings, and yearlings was when the ball started turning, started moving as well, because I got to start breaking, yearling thoroughbreds, and that's a great way to learn, get yourself a set of hands and learn how a horse develops.
You did start riding. What some of the outfits back east that gave you your first shots on horses? Well,
my first job on the racetrack was definitely, I have to thank John Service. My mom gave him a call when I was ready to leave the farm, but I still had to learn, to be at the racetrack because it's a totally different game. And he gave me my first galloping job on the racetrack, and he took me in. They were family friends from before in their days in Penn National. John Service, was nice enough to give a green kid a job on the racetrack, and I started galloping and breezing horses for him. And I worked for him for about a year. I worked for him, and then eventually when I was ready to ride, I started out in Philadelphia where I originally went.
You rode at tracks in Philadelphia, 2 tracks in Florida, and at Del Mar before you got here to Golden Gate in Monmouth Park. You traveled around a lot. Why was that?
One of the reasons why I ended up in Florida was because I had an opportunity to go down there to get on horses for some other outfits that we knew. My mom had used to work in Florida, and so she knew a lot of people. I was still a 10-pound bug, and we thought it would be best for me to go down there, not be in a hurry. My clock hadn't started. And I would ride with, a really competitive meet, but I would ride with a lot of great riders, and I would learn a lot. Fortunately, I did. I did learn a lot, and I rode with a lot of great riders. Unfortunately, I won some races early in the meet, started my year, and then there I was, a 10-pound bug in one of the hardest meets in the country. So some time was lost, but, in the long run, I learned a lot, and it definitely wasn't lost in the end, so.
Now you're here at Golden Gate Fields in the Bay Area, a 30-year-old apprentice about to lose your bug in the next month or so. Your bug year hasn't gone exactly like a lot of bug jockeys want it to go. Losing your bug now, how's that going to help you being the mature age that you are?
Well, I think, the most important part of an apprenticeship that some people get lost, they don't really think about, is it's about learning. It's not just about trying to win a bunch of races while you have the weight off and then disappear, because it's what happens to a lot of bug riders. It's about learning. It's about becoming a good rider, and when you're ready to, become a journeyman and have a career. And although I didn't have a lot of wins during my bug year, I definitely feel very confident going into my journeyman career. And I always have to continue to get better, no matter what stage of your career you're at. You always want to become better. But I feel that I've definitely learned a lot. I've learned more than I think a lot of bug riders have learned. I think that's what's most important. That's what I take away from it.
Last week you won 3 races in one day, a natural hat trick, winning second, third, and fourth races. Earlier in your year, you won 2 races in one day at 2 different tracks over at Gulfstream and Calder. What can you look forward to now in the next year here in the Bay Area? Because I know you want to stay here for a little bit. What do you look forward to in with the trainers here and the horses here and getting your career going?
Well, I just look forward to getting more opportunities and better opportunities and riding better horses. And you always want to ride the big races, and just look forward to working hard, getting, meeting more people, making better and more business relationships with the trainers here, and hopefully getting chances, to ride better and better horses and getting the bigger races and hopefully ride some stake races. I want to be the number 1 rider in the country. And if you're not trying to be the number 1 rider in the country, I don't see too much of the point. So, my aspirations in the big picture are, to win Triple Crown, win the Breeders' Cups, go over and win the Dubai World Cup. Those are always the dreams you have. Whether you get the opportunity or not, that's what you always strive for.
I know you have fans all around the country since you've ridden to so many places, a lot of friends and family watching you go, and I know every time you win here at Golden Gate, you have a lot of support going behind you, and that must mean a lot to you.
Oh, absolutely. Really, my support system has been huge, and without some strong pillars in my family and friends, I probably would have fell over by now. Especially in the early days of my bug, it was a hard time. I wasn't riding very good horses. I wasn't learning very quickly. But without that strong support system, I wouldn't have been held up. And when I win and I have any kind of success, it's that much better. Not even for me. I feel good for the people that supported me because they had the faith in me. They helped hold me up and they helped push me. And I hope, I can only work hard and be disciplined to get better and strive to reach the goals that I want and reach the goals that they wanted for me. So it's been everything.
So far, after 2 weeks of the new meet, you are tied for 4th place in the standings with 7 wins. So congratulations on that, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you very much.